Hello, dear viewer. So today we are still continuing with our osteology of the upper limb, and today we want to look at the osteology of the brachial bone or the bone of the arm, which is known as the humerus. So we are going to look at features on this bone known as the humerus. And I've said that humerus is also known as um, the bone of the arm or the bone of the brachial. And it is that long bone which lies in between the shoulder joint and then the elbow joint. So at the shoulder joint, the humerus articulates with the glenoid cavity of the scapular bone, and then at the elbow joint, this when you look at the shoulder joint, we call that the proximal end of this bone, known as the humerus. And then when you look at its distal end, it makes articulations together with the radius and then the ulnar bones of the forearm, making up the elbow joint there. It is classified as a long bone, and those who have studied structure, ossification of bones, I think you know what I mean when I talk about long bone. So let's specifically look at features, that is from anterior view, viewing it from in front, and then features on the posterior view, that's when we are viewing it from the backward side. All right, let's begin with the anterior view. So we have our anterior view, which we are going to draw. Anterior view. Good. So from the anterior view, what do we see? You realize that we have that half spherical head, giving rise to a small constriction, which gives rise to the body of this bone known as the shaft. And then this has a narrow constriction there. So the narrow constriction gives rise to that greater tubercle there, which greater tubercle will give rise to narrow constriction, giving to the body of the so-called humerus bone. So down here, the distal end, it widens, giving rise to ridges. So we see that, and then that. So that is its structure. Along the lateral side in the middle here, we have a tuberosity there, and then down here we have two depressions there. Then up here we said we have a half spherical head, that half spherical head there, giving rise to that narrow constriction there. Yes, to that narrow constriction. So that's our humerus as you look at it. So now we are going to label this. Yes, so beginning from this is the head. It is half spherical, and that's the head that articulates with the glenoid cavity of the scapular bone. So immediately below this, we have a narrow constriction here, which is known as anatomical neck. Anatomical neck over there. So below the anatomical neck, we have a feature here known as the lesser tubercle. Lesser tubercle there. And then up here we have what we call the greater tubercle. These are important muscle attachment areas. And then in between the two tubercles we have a groove. And that groove is known as the bicipital groove. The bicipital groove. Or we can call it the intertubercular, because it is in between tubercles, so we can call it intertubercular sulcus. Very good. Sulcus. Then along here we have another neck, which is known as the surgical neck, where you see that ring. Then that after the surgical neck, we come to the body of this bone, known as the shaft. After the shaft, you say we have here the deltoid tuberosity. Deltoid tuberosity is an important muscle attachment for the deltoid muscle or muscle of the shoulder. Then that will give rise here. Then when we come down, we see that we have condyles. We have these two condyles. And these condyles, the medial one is known as the trochlea. Now the trochlea is the one which articulates with the trochlear notch of the ulnar bone. Then the lateral one is known as the capitulum. And then the capitulum articulates with the head of the radius, that is along the elbow joint. So the two condyles give rise to what we call the epicondyles. So we have the medial epicondyle, and all these are palpable. You can feel them if you touch your medial side of the elbow and then the lateral side of the elbow. These are very prominent structures that can be seen. So lateral have what we call the lateral epicondyle here. Then from the epicondyles we have ridge-like structures, which we call this, since it is medial, so we call it medial supracondylar ridge. Then the lateral ones too, we shall call it the lateral supracondylar ridge. So you have lateral supracondylar ridge there. Then we have supracondylar ridge, but we observe that above the epicondyles here, or above the capitulum and the trochlea, we have depressions, which are major structures or foci, I can say, or depressions that we view from the anterior side. So the medial one is known as the conoid. The conoid fossa. Sorry, not corner, it is coronoid fossa. It is known as coronoid fossa. Remember, the word fossa means a depression. Then the lateral one is known as the radial fossa. And these are important when you flex your arm. They are very important when you flex your arm, for they provide provisions of the head of the radius and then the coronoid process of the ulna as they occupy them during flexion. So those are the features on the anterior side, and then we can see other features on the posterior view. That's when we are viewing this bone from the back or from behind. Then it gives us the posterior view. So from the posterior view, still if you're viewing the same bone, we can see our half spherical head giving us the body or the shaft. Then I said there's a narrow constriction there. Very good, just like that. Come down. Yes, then down here we have a very big depression. That's over there. Then our half spherical head remain there. I think these are the important. Don't forget our deltoid tuberosity along the middle there. Yeah. So features, major ones, we can see the head. Below the head, we can view the anatomical neck, we can view the surgical neck, but this time we only see what we call the greater tubercle, and then we shall have our deltoid tuberosity still being seen, deltoid tuberosity, and then we see the epicondyles, then the condyles, we only see the medial epicondyle, which is known as the trachea. So the trachea can be seen from a posterior and then anterior view, but we find that the capitulum can only be seen from the anterior view. So you cannot view it, only you can see the trachea that articulates with the trachea notch of the ulnar bone of the so-called of the of the ulnar bone of the forearm, as said. Then this big depression is known as the olecranon fossa. And olecranon fossa is important. That is during extension of the forearm. When you extend the forearm, so it provides a point of insertion of the olecranon process of the ulnar bone of the forearm. And that's the sum of the important features on this bone. So now, I think in the next minute we can look at muscle attachments or muscles that attach onto this bone, and we see where specifically which muscles originate, which muscle insert onto this bone, and so on. So we look at muscles that we can see from the anterior view, and then muscles that we can attach on the posterior view of this. Now, when you look at the biceps brachii, or which we call the muscle of the arm, that is an extensor, this one does not make any attachment onto this bone because it's the strips, all the fibers, all the heads, they originate from the scapular bone, and then they will attach on the radial tuberosity by its tendon. Therefore, just forms a bell-like structure along the middle of this bone, but has no insertion or origin on this bone. So specifically look at muscles which originate or are insert onto this. So from the anterior view, we have up here a muscle known as the supraspinatus muscle. So this is the supraspinatus. Now, supraspinatus originates from the supraspinous face of the scapula, then makes its points of insertion onto the greater tubercle of the humerus. Then, around the floor of the intertubercular groove, we have another muscle which is known as the latissimus dorsi. It inserts there. So we have latissimus dorsi, insertion, floor of that intertubercular sulcus. Then we have also we have another muscle known as the teres major. Can use this one. Teres major originates from the lateral lip here of the bicipital groove. So we have teres major making its insertion there. Then we also have we have also pectoralis major. Also, it's along that. Also inserts along the lateral side of the bicipital groove. So we have pectoralis major. Then we have the muscle that originates from the subscapular fossa of the so-called of the shoulder blade, and this is known as the subscapularis muscle. Makes its points of insertion on the lesser tubercle there. Then we have another muscle here, the coracobrachialis. So coracobrachialis inserts on the medial side of the humerus. So this is coracobrachialis, which originates from the coracoid process of the scapula and it inserts on that. Then we have our deltoid muscle. The deltoid muscle makes its point of insertion over there. Deltoid muscle inserts onto the deltoid tuberous. Then we have the brachialis muscle, which originates in the lower half of the humerus. So this is brachialis. Brachialis originates from there. And then we have okay. Now when you look at the medial side here, then we look at the lateral side here. Now all or many of the flexors. So here we have flexors, we have pronators. So pronators of forearm, flexors of forearm, all make the origin from there. Then we have on the lateral side, we have extensors. Even we have a supinator originating from the lateral epicondyle. So lateral epicondyle we have extensor stroke spinator, medial epicondyle we have flexors stroke pronators, and those are the major muscles that originate or insert from there. Then when we look at posteriorly, still we have our deltoid muscle being inserted onto the deltoid tuberous. So you have deltoid muscle. It's inserted onto that. Still we can view the condyles here. So meaning laterally we have extensors stroke supinator, and then medially we have flexors stroke pronators. Then up here we have origin of the lateral head. So this one is the lateral head of triceps brachii, and then down here we have origin of the medial head of triceps brachii. Then up here we have the major muscles, that is supraspinatus. From the supraspinous fossa down here, immediately below it, we have the infraspinatus. Then below the infraspinatus, we have teres minor, all making their point of insertion there. So I think these are some of the muscles that make attachment or make origin from this bone known as the humerus. Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe. For more videos, turn on the notification button to view our next video about the bones of the forearm, ulna, and radius. Thank you.